This video today is about phone anxiety, and by the end of this video you'll have a good idea of how to reframe your anxiety so that you find it easier to make telephone conversations. Hello, my name is Claire and welcome to Generation Calm, where you can learn to reduce your stress and anxiety naturally in your own time so that your mind and body feel great. Yep, it's true, I have a phone anxiety. And so it's not just millennials that get it. I mean, people say it's millennials because they've grown up without having to use the phone, because there's text messages and emails that are so much easier. But phone anxiety has been around for as long as phones have been around. Can you remember Carson on Downton Abbey when the new telephone came to Downton Abbey? He was petrified of having that first conversation. And, you know, his real fear came true when the person on the other end of the line said he sounded stupid. So if you're someone with a phone anxiety, some of the things that you probably do are all about avoidance behaviors. You avoid having to make a telephone conversation. Maybe you justify that now is not a good time to call someone because, you know, your friend's just, you can't phone your friend right now because their kids have just got in from school. Or, you know, a good one for me is, well, I can't phone a receptionist at 9 a.m. because they've just gotten in. They need to settle in first before they take my telephone conversation. But really, I'm just justifying why I shouldn't call them right now, and then I put it off and procrastinate. And the more we avoid, the harder it becomes to pick up the phone. But it really becomes an issue when it gets in the way of your life. And for me, it did. So when I first started my clinical psychology doctorate, we had to do 6-month placements, like internships, I guess. And my first one was in a clinical psychology department for children. Some of the appointments had already been made for me, but there was also people who were on the waiting list that I needed to call and make appointments with. Well, my worst nightmare happened because it was an open plan office. Now I've not just got the judgment of the people on the other end of the phone that might think I sound like a blithering idiot, but now there's the people in the office, my peers, who are judging me too from their side of the conversation that they can hear me saying. So it was a double whammy, but it became a problem because my supervisor had to actually pull me aside and say, why aren't you making appointments? You are not going to pass your placement if you continue like this. And so I just had to dig in deep, really put my big girl pants on and just make the telephone conversations and pass the placement, no problem whatsoever. So I want to talk to you today about what made it easier for me. So when thinking about phone anxiety, I like to use the acronym REFRAME because I want you to take off your anxiety glasses and put on your reality spectacles. Not rose-tinted glasses, reality. So R stands for review. Before you make a phone call, really think about the intention behind this phone call. Is it because your friend's feeling lonely right now and you just want to lend a listening ear, make her feel better? Is it because you need to make an appointment with a dentist? What is your intention behind this phone call? If you need to, plan out some notes. I don't mean write out the entire conversation. That's just going to make you sound stilted and it's not going to make you be you. So little notes that you might put down, like things that you just don't want to forget, questions you might want to ask. E stands for empathy. What I mean is that any conversation, including the phone conversation, is a two-way process. There's listening and there's talking. So take the pressure off yourself about having to perform and talk well and really listen to what the other person is saying. F stands for fun. I know, right? Telephone conversation being fun. What I mean is smile. If you smile, you'll not only feel more confident, but you'll sound more positive. And that will make the telephone conversation go better. So the reason you're watching this video is probably because you avoid making phone calls. So you're going to have to make it a routine. R is for routine. Start with something small, ordering takeout, making appointments, something that's just really low stakes, small conversation, and then work your way up to doing more complicated phone calls or the ones that you find more anxiety provoking. A stands for attend, and what I mean is attend to your thoughts. So if I was to get all of you in a room together, all of you with phone anxiety, including myself, we would all have different thoughts behind it. For example, for me, it's normally about looking like a fool, getting flustered, not saying the right thing. But for you, it might be completely different. And so I want you to attend to your thoughts. What is it that's behind this anxiety? What are you really afraid of? Dig down and pay attention to these little thoughts that you're saying to yourself. And not only that, then try and tell yourself what you would tell a child. Because I can tell you something, you wouldn't tell them they're being an idiot and that they just need to get over themselves and get on the phone call. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a child. M stands for mistakes. Embrace your mistakes. Yes, mistakes are probably the bane of the existence of somebody with phone anxiety. But actually, if you make a mistake and show your vulnerable side, it's actually a very attractive trait in somebody. It's called the pratfall effect. So if you make a mistake or you show your vulnerable side, people actually like you more than if you were absolutely perfect. That's great, isn't it? That's great news. So embrace your mistakes. E stands for evaluation, celebration, not rumination. I'm pretty proud of that one. I made it up this morning. Evaluate how it really went, this telephone conversation. Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be? How did it actually go? And celebrate. I don't know, grab yourself a small coffee and a scone or something. Just do something nice for yourself. Just a little whoa, pat on the back. Because you know what? You achieved something. You were scared and you did it anyway. Do not ruminate. That's different to evaluate. Ruminate means you get stuck going over and over. Oh, I did this wrong. Oh, I should have said that. And that's a very dark spiral to go down. And it's not going to be helpful to you. Just evaluate how you did. Was it as bad as you thought it would be? And move on. So that's it. Confidence is not something you can just turn on and off with tips and techniques and hacks and things people might try and teach you. You kind of got to dig down and really figure out where this anxiety is coming from. If you do techniques, that's just going to mask who you really are. And that's not really going to help. It'll help on the surface for a short amount of time, but it's not really going to help you at a deeper level. Remember, the aim is not to completely remove any stress or any anxiety. It's just not to let it rule your life and what you do. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like or share, and I hope you come back and I'll see you again soon. Bye.